Before learning how to animate and produce the animation that you can see here in front of you, what we need to do is to learn a little bit about the tools that we're going to be using when we create those animations. So you can see here that as our animation is running through itself here, we've got a bar at the bottom that's running along. Let me just pause that. This is called the range slider here, and we have the animation range, or the time bar as it's also known, down here at the bottom. And currently this is set to 180 frames. So each frame of animation is a division of 1 second. Now, because we're working at 25 frames per second, we have 25 divisions, or 25 frames, in every single second. If we were working for film, we would have 24, or if we were working for web animation, we would have only 15. So with this range slider, I can either move 1 frame forward by clicking this arrow here, or 1 frame backwards by clicking that arrow there. I also have a keyboard shortcut. If you look at the tilde keys on your keyboard, they're just next to the question mark at the bottom of the keyboard. You'll find it's also where the comma and the full stop are often kept, or just above that you've got the more than or less than signs. I can move 1 frame backwards and 1 frame forwards. If I also press the question mark key, which is also where the / generally is, next to the right hand shift key, I can also play my animation forwards, or I can stop it. Now I can't play that backwards at all, but I can play it forwards, so that's fine. I've also got some options down here in the bottom right hand corner, which are standard VCR controls. So I can start my animation or stop it. I can go back a single frame or back to the beginning. I also have options here where, if we look at this one, this is just an option which will allow you to play or pause the selected objects. And you can see here that we've not got anything selected. If I select my ball and then I play with that, it's just going to show me that particular object. So generally I quite like to say, well, I'll have the whole thing playing there. You'll also notice when we've got this ball selected, we've got lots of little marks down here in the timeline. These are called keyframes, and you'll see we've got green keyframes. These refer to rotation, red that refer to position, and blue that refer to scale. So that's, again, all nice and simple. I've also got the option here to set a key. So at any point in my animation, I can press set key, and you can see I've got a new set of keyframes created here. More often than not, what I prefer to do is I tend to use my auto key, and that just means that I have to move my time slider, make an adjustment, and then a keyframe is created automatically down here in the timeline. I turn that off. I've also got ways that I can have my automatic keyframes created for me. So I can either be smooth, going to and from them. I can just jump to and from them. I can have linear, so I move in a very angular way. And really, we'll talk a little bit more about these when we come to do our animation workshop. I've also got in here as well something called my curve editor. And as you can see, once I open up the curve editor, this gives me a representation of all of the movement for this object all in one go. So where my ball is sort of bouncing up and down, if I just grab this and move it on where it's bouncing up and down, you can see as I get to the top of this curve, that's obviously a Z position because it corresponds with the shape of the curve here. But you'll also notice that I've got lots of other information in there as well. So if I just reselect the ball, you see I can show just my position, or just my rotation, or just my scale. And if I click on individual elements within this, you can see that I'm getting different bits of information appearing. So when I show transform or I show sphere, I should be showing just everything for the selected object. There we go. So that was a filter that I used, and you'll find that by using these filters just there, if you set it to selected objects only, it means that you don't get your timeline down here too crowded. If you've got a very busy scene that's got a lot of objects in it, you can find it very difficult to sort of find the object that you're looking for, especially seeing as each individual object has got all of this position and rotation and scale data here, individual to just that one object. If you think all we've really got here is a ball that's moving, then that becomes a lot of data to try and get your head around and to try and keep control of. So by using my filter and just saying selected object, that becomes a lot easier for me. So we have various things in here. I can control my keyframe. I can say I either want it just a straight through smooth, but you can see we've got a little bit of what's called overshoot going on there. Or I can set my tangents to auto, which kind of levels things out a little bit. Tangents at the bottom here, although they are set, they could just be made linear. You see? Or I could make them custom, and then I can just come in and play around with them myself, and I can make alterations. And you can see there the curves changing as I'm playing with them. I've also got within this curve editor an option to use something called a dope sheet, and the dope sheet will show me all of my data in keyframes like this, and also give me range sliders as well. So if I wanted to, I could take this whole animation and I could just squash it down. We reduce that, and I could make the whole animation a lot quicker. Or if I open this back up again, I can drag everything out, and you can see it's all auto scaling itself. If I rewind and press play again, press play again, you can see here now everything is going a lot more slowly. So if you move on to your animation workshop, what you'll find out is how we actually use these and how I have actually created this animation.